This is the iPhone 14. Oh wait, that was an iPhone 13. These two are twins, and unboxing of the 14th is not that different. Still only the phone, SIM card tool and cable with papers. That is if you're not buying the iPhone in the USA, because in those phones you won't find neither a SIM card slot nor a tool, only eSIM now. I expect that trend to go to the most countries in the upcoming years. 60Hz, notch, two cameras, the same screen size and brightness, absence of always-on display or dynamic island. How is the iPhone 14 different at all, and why do I think there's no real reason to buy it? Let's go into the details. So, there's three main updates to this phone, that being the CPU, the cameras and the software features. My name's Gene and I'm Gadget Bear, and I'll tell you about all of them. CPU and hardware. It's actually an A15 Bionic version of this chip from iPhone 13 Pro with an additional GPU core, but we still have an update, a new ISP to process your photos in a better way. But you need to understand one important thing. It's the first iPhone update with the same CPU generation and nanometer technology. A bit more powerful, but nothing groundbreaking at all. Although, considering what place Apple took within all the other CPUs, they still have a few years to compete and try to enhance their CPU game, but eventually it will become even harder than now. Anyway, you won't notice any CPU issues in a few previous generations, and of course you won't notice them here. No lags, all games, maximum settings. Of course, if you're a heavy phone gamer, don't expect the brightness to keep up. It will come down dramatically and won't come back until you stop playing. Situation is getting even worse if you like to play while charging. An important thing to consider is the RAM. There's 6 gigs in iPhone 14 instead of 4 in 13. Yeah, in the world of Android phones, it's a bare minimum, but iPhones are optimized enough to get every possible advantage of that 6 gigabytes. Bluetooth is updated too, and now it's a 5.3 version, but Wi-Fi is still stuck at version 6, which is a bummer. With 6E, you get a whole new frequency and speeds matching even the wired Ethernet, at least in most countries. Software. Where Apple didn't deliver enough in the hardware, they delivered plenty in the software. First of all, we have an updated accelerometer and gyroscope sensors. They will allow your phone to understand if you got in a car crash, and the phone will be able to automatically send a message to an ambulance and your closest ones. That doesn't work in many countries, though. Second feature, phones' antennas are now able to connect to satellites, and that's amazing. Of course, you should be outside and preferably have a clear view of the sky, but still it's a life-saving feature in many conditions. Still, there's not a lot of countries that support that feature, sadly. Third feature is a bunch of software improvements to the photo and video. New action mode will stabilize your videos with both hardware and software to get that GoPro look. Maximum resolution will be 2.8K at 60 frames per second with the HDR support. But that mode will not work great in bad lighting. That means you need to use it mostly with daylighting or in a bright light-filled environment. Basically the same GoPro rules. Computational photography is now more advanced too. It's 3 elephants holding it now. Smart HDR and Deep Fusion now meets Photonic Engine, which is responsible for photos in pretty bad lighting conditions. Deep Fusion had an update too, now preserving more details in the early stages of taking a photo. Therefore, you'll have less noise. And that's it for software features. Now the main update, cameras. Best improvement in my opinion is a new selfie camera. It has a faster aperture, which is hard to notice in everyday usage, and it has autofocus, and that is a bigger deal than you think. With that, you'll be able to capture yourself really close up or really far using a timer, all with a far greater level of quality than 13. The main lens got better too. Sensor is bigger, just like in the iPhone iPhone 13 Pro, Apple claims it to make even better photos than 13 Pro due to the new algorithms, but there's really not much of a difference there. The fact that it captures more light is good though. Ultra-wide is just as unremarkable as it was before. I don't see any noticeable improvements in quality, but with good lighting it'll still take fairly good images. Why you shouldn't buy it? Strictly speaking, there's no big reason not to buy it. It's a fresh model, and if its pricing in your country is similar to the 13, then it's a great deal, iterative update and all. But Apple at this point is a competitor to itself. It has so many good phones that its customers don't have a huge reason to buy exactly the fresh, newest iPhone. For example, there's 3 iPhones with better value than this one for most people. iPhone 13 got considerably cheaper, and while it has slightly worse cameras and 2 gigs less RAM, it's the best option for most people who won't notice much of a difference in cameras. Especially considering they won't print those photos, and Instagram or Snapchat is as far as those photos would ever go. iPhone 13 Pro is the greatest value now. It has a lot of these things that everyone will notice. Third camera, 120Hz display. Yeah, it's a worse selfie camera, but it's probably the only reason to buy the 14 instead of 13 Pro. Apple took 13 Pro manufacturing down and doesn't sell it anymore because of these reasons, but for a pretty long time you will still be able to find it new in other places for a price comparable to 14. And there's 14 Pro with all the new things reserved just for it. Bigger sensors and better cameras, screen brightness almost 2 times better, refreshing dynamic island which will improve the interface with time, and promotion, those 120Hz, which I think you will notice immediately. As a matter of fact, the iPhone 14 doesn't have that many improvements at all. That pushes you to buy at least the iPhone 14 Plus, which I reviewed here. It's here. It has both a bigger screen and a bigger battery, and that alone is a big improvement for many people. Add this to the new features and you'll have a much better upgrade. And even so, iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max are now having an unmatched value. It's simply the best iPhones you can buy while not spending a ton of money, and the best features you will get. Remember to leave a like and a comment if this video was helpful. My videos are from Slav with love, and I hope you'll want to see more of them. In that case, you can subscribe and do that. Stay tuned and have a good day. Bye.